Okay, should I intro the podcast? Should we fucking do it? Hold on a second. What's up? I'm Lyra.
I'm Lana.
This is the Long Lost Podcast. Look, we have a name now. We did it.
Well, we had a name before. We changed the name.
Oh, instead of Llama? And before that, it was just like Unnamed Lost Podcast.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. You can shorten it to Lollapod.
Lollapod, okay. Yeah. Also, y'all already know this because it was in the first 2 episodes that we released. So this isn't news to you. It's more news to us than you, really.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Ate some food, which is always a good thing to do.
I'm drinking a little chamomile tea.
All right. You got some nice hay-flavored tea.
Yeah, I know you're not a tea fan. All right, is there any tea that does not taste like hay to you?
A sweet raspberry iced tea.
Oh, okay, the kind where it's all like, where it's got a little,
it just tastes like sugar and fruit.
Yeah, so basically your favorite kind of tea is juice.
Yeah, it's like with alcohol. My favorite thing is just sweet, candy flavored.
Again, we're on the opposite sides of it, because like when I drank, I was liquor constantly. Hit me with that shit.
I hit the liquor. That's for efficiency rather than enjoyment for me.
Yeah, I guess tea is not a very efficient drink.
Yeah, unless you want to be efficiently relaxed and chill.
Can you imagine someone being like, gotta get relaxed. I improved my get relaxed time.
I think, yes, I can imagine that person. You know who it is? I know exactly who it is.
Oh shit, who is it?
It's Captain Jean-Luc Picard. That's his vibe.
Holy fuck. You're so right.
I know, yeah.
That's extremely accurate. He has it down to a science, I think. Okay. Well, enough about Star Trek. This time, we watched Lost, Season 1, Episode 4, Walkabout. Do you want to do any high-level feelings about this one, or should we go into the synopsis up front?
I liked it. I had a good time.
Yeah, same. Okay, let's do the synopsis, because then we can talk about what you liked about it, and maybe what was kind of lame about it also. All right, so we're trying a new thing where I'm just going to give a summary of the episode up front. That way we can just sort of talk about whatever parts we want to talk about in whatever way we want to talk about them. Sound good? Okay, let's do this. Synopsis. We open on a shot of Locke's eye as he wakes up on the beach right after the plane crash, mirroring the opening shot of the pilot with Jack's eye. The camera brings a lot of attention to him, noticing that he's missing a shoe by wiggling his little toesies in his socks. He grabs a shoe, and then we cut back to the current time, the beach at night. Everyone's getting woken up by spooky noises on board the plane. Is it a monster? A human? Nope, just a group of wild boars that freak everyone out and then run into the jungle. Jack is talking to Saeed, Charlie, and Kate, and says they should burn the remaining bodies the following night, which none of the others are thrilled with. The next morning, Saeed is trying to improve the transceiver in order to find the location of the signal they picked up, hoping that there will be a power station there. Tensions are amping up on the beach as they realize that they're basically out of food. Locke throws a knife to demo his hunting skills, and rallies Michael and Kate to go hunting with him. He's got a suitcase with 50 knives that he checked on the plane. Cue a Locke flashback where we see him working a shitty office job with a shitty boss. In a later flashback, we see Locke playing a war game on his lunch break with a friend, and he mentions he's decided that he's definitely going to do the walkabout that he's been thinking about. He also mentions a woman named Helen, maybe a girlfriend? His boss is super rude to him and basically says, there's no way you can do that, you have no destiny, you're a loser, or whatever. Back on the island, Claire tries to convince Jack to give a eulogy at the body burning, and he's super resistant, saying it's not his thing. Rose, the woman who was sitting next to Jack on the plane, is sitting alone, seemingly mourning her husband, who was not among the survivors. Boone convinces Jack to go talk to her. Meanwhile, Michael, Kate, and Locke nearly corner a boar, but Michael makes a noise and gets his leg gored. Kate is like, we gotta take him back to camp, and Locke is all frazzled and says he can handle the rest of the hunt by himself. When Kate protests, he says, don't tell me what I can't do, mirroring a thing he said to his dickhead boss. Rose and Jack are on the beach, and while Jack isn't saying much, Rose starts talking to him about her husband. She eventually feels comforted by him and calls him a good soul. Right as they start to return to the group, Jack sees a man in a suit at a distance down the beach. Jack glances away, and when he looks back, the man is gone. Returning to Locke's flashback, he's in bed on the phone talking to Helen, who it is slowly revealed over the course of the scene is a phone service sex worker who he believes is more genuinely connected to him than she really is. He says he got her a ticket to Australia with him, and she says basically like, this is outside the scope of my stuff, maybe go to therapy. While they're walking back to camp, Kate tries climbing a tree to try out the improved transceiver that Saeed made, but she falls and breaks it when she hears gasp. The monster in the jungle. It's right over where Locke was. We cut over to him, and we see from the monster's POV as it emerges from the jungle to loom over Locke, who looks straight at it, frozen and scared. We cut back to Kate and Michael returning to camp, everyone noticing that Locke is gone. Some people suspect he may be dead. Kate goes to tell her bestie Jack about all that happened, and during their conversation, Jack again sees this mystery suit man. This time, Jack runs to the jungle to follow the suit man, with Kate tailing close behind. Not 30 feet into the jungle, and right where the suit man disappeared into the brush, Locke emerges, dragging behind him a dead boar. At nightfall, Claire is giving her little eulogy over the fire of the bodies. Jack is sitting away from the group on the beach, all emo. Michael says, "Nice work," to Locke, and asks if he saw the monster. Locke says no. Cut back to Locke's flashback, where we see him in the office of the walkabout guide, a white guy, and the guide is arguing with him, saying that there's no way he can go on the walkabout. The two of them argue, and it's revealed that Locke has been in a wheelchair for 4 years. Gasp? We then return to the scene where Locke is getting up from the plane crash, and we see that the miracle that happened here is that he can walk again. Back to the body burning, Locke looks on into the burning fuselage and cracks a smile. Lost.
I'm glad I didn't have the task of doing that.
I just found it out. No editing. Just here we go. Let's just get it done.
Yeah, so that's the episode. It's Locke flavored, but I think less Locke focused than the previous episode was Kate focused.
Yes. He's definitely the main character of the episode in that there's flashbacks, but there's a lot of different subplots and stuff. And Jack is getting some character development in this episode a lot too. So yeah, so you said that you liked it. You want to go into some of your thoughts here? So
I guess one of the first things I noticed, and that going through the whole episode remained consistent, and it's something that was consistent the previous two also, is that the humor is really working for me. It really was. I think sometimes maybe it wasn't always supposed to be that funny. I couldn't tell necessarily, but I was laughing and having a good time regardless. Not even necessarily in a look how dumb this is kind of way, just in an actually this is kind of goofy or whatever, you know?
What's an example of where you're not sure?
When they're going to investigate the spooky noises in the fuselage, right?
Yeah.
Did you notice anything really funny about that? Just the scene where they're walking towards it?
I mean, I thought it was funny that Charlie just kind of sidles up and is part of the investigation, but that's the thing that I thought was silly.
What I found so funny is they're Jack is let's go check it out. And they're oh no, it's spooky. And he's let's go. And he pulls out this pen-sized flashlight, this little pocket flashlight.
Uh-huh.
And Sawyer walks behind him and has this giant
yeah, it's
one of those massive spotlight style flashlights.
Yeah.
And is holding that, and they're both kind of pointing them forward. I thought that was hilarious. I just thought that was really funny that Jack is let's go check it out with his little flashlight, and then Sawyer's there with this big old. I thought it was great. Actually, I loved it.
Yeah, that is. I do think this scene has some little stuff like that where there's attention to detail and how they're characterizing people with in an economical way.
Yeah,
that's fun.
Stuff like that where it's not really a joke, but it just gave me good feelings. I was haha, let's go, this is fun, just kind of goofy.
For sure.
Stuff like that was really working for me. There's a scene where you omitted the subplot about the fish, which...
Yeah, because it doesn't matter at all. Also, it sucks, so I want to talk about it.
We're talking about it now. Let's talk about just briefly the subplot.
Do you want to tell us what this subplot is?
Yeah, so Boone says, Shannon, you're a worthless bitch. Shannon says, I can get some fish and sustain myself. Boone says, no, you can't. And then Shannon goes, hey, Charlie, catch me a fish. And Charlie goes, okay. And then he gets Hurley to help him catch a fish. The scene with Charlie and Hurley was actually great.
Yes.
It was great.
Yeah, that scene is great, for sure. I love that.
There's hard.
It's Hurley and Charlie are both spearfishing, and neither of them have any idea what they're doing, but they're both having a good time together regardless. their chemistry is really good.
They're doing the sort of thing where they're like bickering a bit, arguing a little bit, but like in a really good-natured, friendly way.
Yes, yeah.
It just really, really worked having two likable people being likable together. And I think it's good to have that in this type of show where you're going to have a lot of tense drama between characters to also have that kind of like release there.
Yeah, there's levity for sure.
Yeah, so that worked for me. Here's a piece of comedy that I burst out laughing and I think wasn't intended to be funny. Sawyer, I don't like him. He's a bigot and terrible. But like, I like his character. His character is serving a purpose, doing it well. And he has moments where he is amusing, like genuinely.
Totally.
This wasn't necessarily one of those. It brought me back to 2004. He calls Jack, I don't know if you picked this up, a metro?
Oh, I did pick that up. I was like, I guess he's like homophobic.
Yeah, he's like...
But like in a really weird way.
He's like, what do you want, metro? And I was just like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. I loved it. It was terrible, but I loved it. Just for 2004-ness,
I mean, he's not just like calling him a slur. He's like saying a homophobic thing, but it's also weird because like metro as a term is like kind of like dodging.
Yeah, that's what
it's
it
just
is.
Like
I couldn't put my finger on it, but you're exactly right. That is what is so funny about it. If he'd just been like, what do you want?
Yeah.
It wouldn't have had that same, not charm, but like humor, that same...
Yeah, it would have been like, damn, fuck that guy. It's like a shitty insult.
Yeah, it actually makes me think of him calling Hurley Lardo, this dude who's trying to be like, super hard and super edgy and super like caustic. But because it's network TV...
it comes off as like school bully in some ways.
Yeah, like he can't be those things. Like he can't... And it just comes off as just very funny.
I will say he's very racist to Saeed.
Oh, big time, yeah. Speaking of Saeed, Saeed in this episode is so hot.
Yeah, tell me your... yeah. What was it about this episode that was working so much for you about Saeed?
I think same as the previous two episodes. He was equally hot. I don't know. It's just, you see him and I'm like, damn, he's really hot whenever he's on screen. He's just sitting there and he's like, I guess he's wearing like a wife beater. And he's got
he's got this tank.
Curly hair flowing and like he's got the scruff and he just looks good. He just looks great. Saeed is so hot and I want him to just do everything that I think is good and cool because I want to like him. And I think he did okay in this episode in that regard. I think I mentioned last episode that he was kind of taking more of a leadership role, and I liked in this episode that it very much was Jack is back in charge. I thought that was good and cool.
Something that I like about this episode is everybody's presumption that Jack is in charge, but seeing ways in which he like doesn't want that, or he's like not good at it.
Totally.
Because this episode is pretty consistently like he's kind of emotionally closed off.
Yeah, and I really liked that. Yeah. Totally.
Like they try to get him to do, the cleric tries to get him to do this eulogy and he's just like, nope, I don't do that. That is not my thing.
And not just, he doesn't do the type of leadership thing of like, oh gosh, you're right, man, this is really out of my comfort zone, but we should do this for the troops.
Yeah.
He basically just says, I'm not doing that because I don't care. It's pretty cold.
Yeah, he is cold about it. And with the bodies, too, he's like, well, we should burn them because, I don't know, there's like wild animals eating them and shit. He's not necessarily wrong. He is very cold about the way that he, like, goes about it.
Yeah, and he's unsympathetic. He's not like, he doesn't approach it like, gosh, this sucks, guys. This is what you have to do. He's just like, yo, these people are dead. They don't give a shit. They're dead now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, other people, like, are like, Saeed's like, what about their religious beliefs or, like, whatever, and Jack's like, fucking whatever. Like,
they're dead. We're not. Let's keep it that way.
Yeah.
Which I liked. I thought it was great.
Totally. I think the part where, so he ends up going to comfort Rose, which, like, part of me was like, I do wish this was a different character, because I like this characterization for Jack, that, like, he's the scientist, and he's, like, cold, because he's, like, always just thinking sort of on rational lines. But I think my feeling on this scene where he's with Rose, he doesn't really say anything emotionally comforting. He just kind of, like, is there with her. And the things he does say are, like, medicalized, which I thought was kind of cool. He walks up, he's like, you should be drinking water. He's like, oh, you can't sit here forever. You need to drink water and eat food.
He kind of almost, I wondered if he was going to say it explicitly, and he didn't, but I kind of got a hint of these other people, the group now is worried about you, and that's putting a toll on the group. By neglecting yourself, you are hurting the group.
I do feel like that's kind of like is thinking of like why he went over there, you know?
And it worked well enough for me because he declined so harshly the memorial thing, and he was very reluctant to go talk to Rose. So I thought he had enough pushback to all of it that it worked well enough for me.
Yeah, it doesn't feel inconsistent or anything. Yeah, there's also like a moment where they get up to leave, like after like he comforts her or whatever, just by kind of like sharing space with her. And she insists that her husband isn't dead. Jack is just immediately like, he was on the other side of the plane, which just isn't here. Everyone on that side of the plane is dead. Your husband's dead. He's just very like direct about that.
Yeah, he doesn't do the like, gosh, yeah, it's great that you have hope. Maybe he is out there. He doesn't do any of that. He's just like, sorry, but that man dead now.
Yeah. So I like his character like developing in this way.
It's very much not Kate-like.
Yes.
These aren't huge flaws, but they are, and they're not even honestly necessarily flaws in a human person to be this way. But they are very much not. I just assumed, especially after the Kate stuff, that we were going to get Jack's the good guy, hero guy, because that's kind of what we got in the first couple.
Totally.
And he wasn't, and I really liked that. So yeah, let's talk about Kate.
Yeah. So Kate is in this episode. She does plot actions. They like keep trying to push this characterization of like Kate runs away from stuff. And there's this one line that I thought was a clunker. Saeed's like trying to like improve this transceiver or whatever. And Kate is like, basically offers like, oh, I'll help. I'll bring it out into the jungle when we go hunting and try and get a signal. And Saeed's like, I see you're just as eager to get off this island as I am.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah, it's like,
yeah.
I think everybody wants to get off the island with like one exception.
Yeah.
Like at this point, it seems like nobody wants to be there except for maybe one guy.
And also,
who's like the focus of the episode.
When Kate volunteered to go on, this hunt thing, Jack gave her some shit about like any excuse to walk away from camp, or something.
Yeah.
It just felt so weird because it's like Kate's a doer. People need to get shit done. She's like game for getting shit done. Like, what is your deal?
She's going to like hunt boar with a knife.
Yeah.
Which is like an insanely dangerous thing to do. It's just like, oh yeah, take this knife and go like battle a wild boar. It's like
his like pushback on her going isn't, this is doomed to fail and is very dangerous.
Right.
It will just get us hurt. It won't actually get us food. It's always running away, aren't you, Kate? And I'm like, this makes no sense to say.
Yeah.
Like,
the characters keep saying this is her character, but then like her actions never demonstrate that. Like
exactly.
When the boar charges them, she stays there. She like helps Michael.
She doesn't abandon Michael. She didn't abandon the marshal in the goddamn truck.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that thing again. Right?
Yeah, well, and just seeing her, I had a much stronger than I thought I would have, like actual emotional disappointment seeing her on screen. Probably not the first time she was on screen, but the first time she was like a focus of the episode and she was having a lot of lines and stuff. Where I was just like, God, I don't really care and I'm not interested in her. It sucks. I was like so let down almost by just like seeing her in contrast to what we could have had if she'd been characterized more interestingly previously.
Right.
Then it's like, is she reliable? Can you depend on her in this situation? Instead of just like, oh, it's Kate. Okay, cool, Kate is here.
Because that would like produce additional tension too in scenes where she's like out doing stuff where it's like...
Yeah, it just made me so bored.
Yeah, it's a bummer. It's also a bummer because I feel like the stuff that they're doing, like we were just talking about Jack, but I think like in general, like the cast, in this episode, I'm really starting to feel like there is a cast of characters who I'm like feeling pretty excited about seeing more from.
Yeah.
Kate is like not really one of them, and she's like one of the major like characters in terms of screen time.
That was exactly my feeling, is that it was so disappointing seeing her on screen just because I knew I wasn't going to be interested with whatever she was going to do. You get a scene with Hurley and Charlie, And I don't know what's going to happen. I'm like, this is cool. This is fun. This is kind of exciting. Here we go. And then she comes on screen and I'm just like, okay, I'm bored.
Totally.
I don't want it to be that way. And there's still time for it not to be that way.
Yeah.
It's just disappointing. And it's a feeling that I don't want to have, but I really do. So yeah, Kate sucks, unfortunately.
We can find food. Peanuts. We can find food. What do you need? We can find food. Ocean goldfish. We can find food.
Let's talk about the meat of the episode.
The boar?
How does that sound? Let's talk about like Locke's subplot and flashbacks and stuff. Yeah, let's talk about Locke. So it's your boy Locke, mystery old man, slightly less of a mystery. What do you think about his subplot and like how the flashbacks are used in this episode?
I think they were used much more effectively and interestingly than Kate's were.
I agree with that for sure.
I think they did a good job with subverting expectations, making him the mysterious guy who knows stuff and is in control. And it turns out what succinct phrase or word would you use to describe how they depict him?
Quote unquote loser.
Yeah, okay,
Like,
just broadly, like, doesn't get women, loser job, uses sex work.
Yeah, it seems like he's kind of, like, loser is, like, obviously a mean word, that's why I put
Yeah.
quotes around it, because it's, like,
No, totally, yeah.
TV show archetype. But it's, like, he's, like, really lonely, and he has no real, like, purpose, I guess, is kind of how they paint it.
So yeah, that subverted expectations in an interesting way, because that's not the character we've gotten to know over 3 episodes.
Totally.
And they even do it in the flashback. He's doing some role play, and he's referred to as Colonel. And we go, is he in the military? What's going on? And then it's like, no, he's just playing a game.
He's just, like, kind of a nerd.
Yeah, and I like it. I'm still on Team Locke, big time.
Yeah.
I think that, I don't know, I can empathize with somebody being a loser, you know?
Totally.
He seems really driven. He wanted so badly to do this Australian walkabout thing. And I really it was effective, him saying the repeated phrase, don't tell me what I can't do.
Right.
I actually thought that was really effective for me. It worked, at least.
Yeah, I think they do the thing that we asked for last time. The flashbacks are woven into the episode in a way that's a lot more like, oh, we're seeing the parallels, like, directly happening here.
Yeah.
It's not, like, crazy like that, but it is, like, more improved. Just maintains the momentum, I would say, of the episode better. Like, it doesn't feel like we're kind of in a plot, like, cul-de-sac when we enter a flashback.
It informs us, it gives us context to what's going on now. Whereas Kate's, I guess it did, but it fell flat so hard that...
Yeah, I mean, because they've only given her, like, one character trait.
Yes, that's the thing, and they use so much of that flashback on that, pushing that one trait, which turned out to be not true in the end.
Yes, yeah.
Weirdly, the don't tell me what I can't do reminded me of the counting to 5 to overcome your fear, just because it was like a repeated phrase sort of thing.
Like a mantra, sort of.
Yeah, the counting to 5 just did not work for me. I think it's just because it was coming from Jack and Kate, who are boring.
Mm-hmm.
And, I hesitate to say this. I've liked some of Jack's performance, particularly in the last episode and this episode, where his character is going more against the grain of what the others want.
Yeah.
I think he's done a pretty good job of portraying that.
Uh-huh.
And with Kate, I'm not sure if it's so much the acting or the material, but I haven't seen anything from Kate yet where I'm like, oh, that was good acting.
Yeah, I think it's because her material is so, like, limp.
Yeah.
Like, so there's just, like, not a lot for her to do. But who knows? Yeah, she does a lot of sort of squinting.
Yeah. So does Locke. Locke does a lot of squinting.
Locke does a lot of squinting, too.
I think they're all going to be doing a lot of squinting.
I think he does a good job of portraying, like, a sort of faithful confidence.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's another thing that I find compelling just generally and stuff. Strong belief.
Totally. Yeah, I do like that this culminates with him being very, like, well, one, it's like, oh, shit, another mysterious thing happening on the island. It's also like, oh shit, there's somebody here who really does not want to leave, right?
Yeah, so are we figuring that he thinks, at least, that if he gets off the island, he will lose the use of his legs again? And that it's island specific, or that...
I feel like he gives off crash landing on this island was like step towards his destiny.
Yeah, that's true. He's talking about destiny a lot. and he didn't get the opportunity to have what he was calling his destiny before with the walkabout.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's true. Regardless of the leg situation, this is his jam right now.
Yeah. One thing which I think is fine, but is just like kind of funny, which is like when we see the shot of his apartment, it's all like military fan stuff. It's like very bare, but what's there is like some military paraphernalia. We've learned through the dialogue that he like has not been in any of the armed services or whatever. He's just like a military nerd.
Yeah.
Which is like,
it's not good.
Kind of a whack trait in real life, but like, but whatever.
Yeah,
like,
I agree. It is, but I'm willing to, just toss it kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares?
The thing I will say is walkabouts are like pretty appropriative.
Yeah.
And kind of suck.
Yeah.
At least in the way of this like tourism, whatever thing. And this feels like an extremely like 2004 situation.
Very 2004. And it's this white man's destiny to go on this
to go on an aboriginal spiritual journey, which he does by like buying tickets or whatever.
Yeah, it's not good.
Pays another white guy to help him out.
It doesn't speak well to his character. Not his characterization. It's fine to have that as like the characterness is fine to it, but it doesn't speak well of him as a person. I'm going to, I think, choose to forgive it for the most part because it's 2004, A, and B, the suggestion to speak to a therapist, which he said he already was speaking to a therapist, was a great suggestion.
Yeah.
He's got issues, clearly. So I think I can be sympathetic towards some of the ways in which those issues might manifest.
Yeah, totally.
Without, saying that makes all of it okay, but like this dude is clearly not in a great mental emotional state. So
yeah, I think it's like, it's totally consistent. It plays for his character. I guess it's more of a like, clearly the writers had no awareness.
Yeah, that's
of,
really what
it being an appropriative thing. That's more what I have the issue with, right?
And then so they do the wheelchair reveal. I think that was effective. Good.
Yeah, what did you think of that? That's one of the big,
was like,
kind of crazier ones.
Oh damn! I mean, I don't know. I was like, oh, okay, information processed.
Yeah. I hope they save that wheelchair.
I know
that could be pretty useful.
They showed it kind of like burning.
Yeah. I was like, wait,
alarmingly close to the fire, and I was like, because it was a dramatic shot with him looking at the wheelchair with the flames.
Yeah,
I get it.
It's like I get it.
Yeah,
metaphors,
totally,
right?
I get it. But like somebody make sure that wheelchair sticks around. Jeez.
It's probably because Jack was being too like emo and emotionally distant to be there. Because if he was there, he would have been like, wait, we need the wheelchair.
Like, guys, we need this. This is material. Like,
but just because he was like, no, I'm going to sit on the beach and not.
I did think that was a little bit weird.
The rest of the group.
I like him not being involved and being like, they're just corpses. Who cares? Burn them. I'm not going to do the memorial. But he could have stood there. Like,
yeah, I think that's setting up that there's something more going on rather than like it's not just that he's like cold. Not emotionally about that. It seems like, okay, there's something actually going on for like that.
Also, I wouldn't say they did a terrible job with it or that they should have done it necessarily super differently, but the memorial itself, I felt no emotional impact of it whatsoever because it's for people that we don't know and have already been dead for 4 episodes.
Yeah.
I thought it was boring, and I thought it also, this is fine as a character thing, I thought it sucked. I thought Claire gave a shitty memorial.
Judith Martha Wexler. Guess she was gonna catch a connecting flight. She wore corrective lenses.
I was wondering if they were gonna kind of like acknowledge that Claire did a bad job.
She's like, I've got this driver's license. All right, next.
Yeah, there's an element of that I think works, which is like the people giving the eulogy also don't know these people and are just like doing it because like, I guess we should do this, we should say something, but we don't know what to say. But I also totally, I guess it's like that element of it I didn't find too bothered by.
But like I don't know that I wouldn't say I was bothered by it, because you're right. It makes sense that they don't know what to say to eulogize these people they didn't know. And it also makes sense that some random person isn't going to be great at giving this heartfelt, emotional memorial thing necessarily. Yeah. So I actually like that it was bad. I kind of like that. It's just that as it was happening, because of all those things, I was bored. Maybe I just get bored too easily, to be honest. I don't know. But
Well,
I was just like, okay,
I think it's funny.
all right.
Like, the characters get bored too because they just
Yeah.
start talking in the back, like Michael and Locke, or like maybe Charlie. Like some other people just start like having a little conversation while this is happening, which I think is pretty funny. Let's see, what were there? Were there other things here that we didn't touch on? I guess the stuff with Shannon was lame.
Yeah,
because for all the reasons why Shannon has been lame.
I want to ask you something, and it's fine, right? I'm not going to get in trouble. Who's going to get me in trouble? Nobody's going to listen to this.
I mean, you can edit it out.
No,
too,
if I'm going to say it, I'm not going to edit it out. It's not even that bad. So Shannon is portrayed as manipulating Charlie, right? With her femininity and wiles. And do what I'm telling you, right? And we also got that shot of Kate, the totally egregious bathing shot with Kate.
Yeah.
And I was genuinely wondering this myself. Okay. Kate and Shannon, personalistically, for me, not hot. They're just not hot, neither of them.
Saeed is your type.
I mean, it's funny because he's, I don't swing that way. I wish I did sometimes.
You might make an exception
I've got a list. I've got a list of people who, if I did, would be go-tos, but nobody's broken the threshold yet. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I can't be bi because, this is my list of top dude hotties, and none of them break it. So, I'm just waiting for the guy who does break it, I guess. I don't know, but until then, lesbian. Fun fact, Chris Martin, oh god, what's his name? God, that guy's so... How am I forgetting his name? He's so good, I just had it. Moon? You watch Moon?
Yes. Sam Rockwell?
Yeah, Sam Rockwell, Sammy Rock. He's on that list big time. And, Saeed, 100% on that list.
I love that you're just dropping your list right here.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, I guess he's more my type. But no, I just don't... and I don't know... This is what I wanted to ask. Is it 2004, or is it me that's the disconnect? Are they 2004 hot, or are they evergreen hot, and it's just me?
I think it's you. Maybe Shannon... because Kate is not particularly styled in any kind of way. I will say, people's clothes in this show are bad, because it's from 2004. All the jeans are, this kind of, it's like you washed your denim in rust, and so it has this, gross brown color, which, is not just a lost thing. I remember 2004, that is what jeans look like. No, I think it is probably a you thing.
Okay, well, just some of those things, that particularly kind of didn't... I mean, it's a shitty subplot anyway, right? It's a dumb thing. It's not interesting. It's so fucking tired. It's so tired.
Yeah.
But even aside from all that, it just didn't work for me, because I'm like, for her? Really? She's just gonna be like, catch me a fish.
There has been a thing where, Charlie, if a pretty girl says something, he's like, okay, yeah,
That's true.
I can do that also.
Yeah, that's fair. He is
not
not very choosy, I guess, yeah.
No, he's kind of just all right, whatever, okay.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Right, I was just wondering about that, though. Yeah, I wanted clarification on that. I guess it's just me.
I feel like that's you, and maybe a bit the era. Who knows?
Let's see. I want to talk about Michael a little bit.
Yeah, let's do that.
Not good this episode, I think, for Michael.
What, that he sucks at being a dad, and he's dumb because he makes a really loud noise when they're trying to stealth hunt a boar. What are the things that you're
There's
thinking?
no egregious part with him being a dad, but he's not doing a great job. He's being a pretty bad dad, just in terms of he's not communicating really with Walt in a way that Walt understands. He's just telling Walt basically do these things because I said so.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like if you just explain it to Walt, Walt will get it. And he does do a little bit of explaining. I don't want to say he's totally horrible or cruel. He's just not doing great, and I wish he'd been doing better at this point. Then he does the dumb thing with the boar where, Locke and Kate are doing hand motion signs, obviously quietly, and he's just like, what? Why are you giving me signals with your hands? And I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, that was pretty
Is it Is
I don't know. It's just the sum of these parts for Michael is like not.
Yeah.
It does not look good on the writers.
The scene with talking to the what's her name, the Korean woman?
Sun.
Talking. He's trying to get Sun to keep an eye on Walt as he goes on this hunt, and he does the thing where he knows she doesn't speak English, so he talks very loudly and slowly, as though that will help, and is also just awkward with her and weird. And I'm not sure if some of that was from the seeing her topless before, or if it was just the communication barrier.
Yeah.
It was a bad scene that sucked.
That scene did suck. Also, like, really bizarre decision-making from Michael to ask somebody who does not share a language with Walt to, like, look after him.
Yeah, there were other people around.
He's like, I need to leave Walt somewhere, and he just looks for, like, the nearest woman. And he's like, you, woman, you can follow, like, keep track of my son.
Like,
and it's
even
like,
if he wants it to be
it makes
woman,
no
like,
sense.
Get Claire to do it.
Yeah, literally anyone.
Yeah.
Like, any other character. Hurley?
Yeah,
Like, I don't
Hurley.
know. He seems pretty chill and responsible,
Boone?
honestly.
I think Boone would do a fine job at it. He takes care of his loser sister enough.
Yeah, like, it's... Yeah.
It sucks. I think Michael just had a really bad episode, and I hope he gets better
For
episodes
sure.
going forward, because they're shit. They're bad for him so far. He's not...
They're not feeling great.
He also... This was another funny part that I actually really liked, and I assume was on purpose. He got asked, I think by Walt, what happened to him, and he's limping back out after he gets hit by the boar. And he says, I got gorged, which...
Does he say that?
Yeah, he says, I got gorged. He doesn't say, I got gorged. He said, I got gorged. And I was just like, they gotta be deliberate, right? Like, are they just purposefully characterizing Michael as a dummy?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if that's what they're doing.
Yeah. Ugh.
Let me ask this. Does Walt have a character?
Dog.
He likes dog. He was looking at comic books.
Yeah.
He likes to learn game? Maybe?
Yeah.
So I guess it's more of a statement. I don't think Walt really has a character.
Yeah.
He's child.
I agree.
Right.
Both of them should get more. They should do better by them.
Yeah. Okay, what about... Are there any other, like, random minor character stuff, like Sun and Walt? I don't know. The minor characters, like Sun and Jin, really haven't gotten anything yet. We don't really know anything about them still.
Sawyer is still kind of just being a dick.
Yeah,
all the
Sawyer,
time.
he's kind of like in the background this episode more than in previous ones, I guess.
He calls Hurley fat again.
Yeah, damn.
And he calls Jack a metro.
Yeah.
It was, I gotta say too, so Sawyer and Hurley are kind of getting a minor tussle. It's not a fight or anything, it's just a little shoving or whatever.
Uh-huh.
The way Jack sounds, I've talked about his voice before, but the way he sounds when he comes in to break it up is hilarious to me. He's like, I don't want to make fun of people's voices. I don't have my own voice or whatever, but it's like, hey guys, stop it! What are you doing? Stop it! It just sounds so whiny.
Oh, is he breaking up the fight about food
About
or
the
something?
peanuts.
Yeah, the peanuts.
Yeah. It's when Sawyer goes, Jack, it's peanuts, not penis. I wasn't hoarding all the penis. I was hoarding all the peanuts. And then Jack goes, oh shoot, I love me some dick though. That scene.
Wait, so are you calling Jack a metro?
I don't know
now, or
what I'm
is-
doing. I don't know that's just, okay, moving on.
Yeah, rolling with it. I guess also Claire is like in this episode, but I still feel like they have failed to give her any kind of characterization aside from she's nice.
Yeah, you're right.
She's pregnant.
She gets the memorial thing, but that really does boil down to just she's nice. But I think it's...
Yeah.
Some of my favorite characters are characters who aren't the big hero and aren't the cool, talented people with all the skills who are saving the day or they're just the normal folk who are there and are trying their best. So I like that Claire took it upon herself to do something that she thought was important, even though I don't think it was important, and I think she did a bad job. But I like that she was active in a different way than like your Jack and your Kate and your Sawyer and your Saeed have been active.
Uh-huh.
but it was important to her, and I like that she did it.
Yeah, it'd be cool if they did more of that.
Yeah.
I still wish she had a bit, I guess just like, I'm just like not really feeling a lot with her screen time.
Yeah,
So
I mean, that's fair,
I hope
for
that,
sure.
like, more development there. Is there anything else left in this episode?
I just want to point out that when Jack and Rose are talking about her husband, first of all, it's foreshadowing how there could potentially be more characters introduced into this show. Potentially we get tail section survivors later. So there's that. I think that's a practical, not piece of information, but a thing that's being conveyed to us from the writers. Look out for this or whatever. Keep this on your mind, maybe. So we get that. And then I also just thought it was funny that literally she says that about, like, maybe that's what they're thinking about us being dead or whatever. So it's like, have this on your mind, audience. And that's, like, literally the second that Jack sees Suit Guy.
Yes.
So it was like, think about how there might be new characters who we haven't seen yet. Look, there's one. And I was like, all right, okay.
It is, like, exactly at that moment, for sure. What do you think about Mystery Suit Guy? Are you curious about him?
No.
Are you like...
Don't care. Don't give a fuck.
You don't care?
Mostly, it's the same vein as the polar bear was for me, in terms of, yes, that is a mystery. It's one that you will be resolving, because that's what the show is. So I'm not going to stress myself. It will happen in time. I'm not going to concern myself with it until then, because it's wasted energy almost for me, you know?
Totally. I'm curious to see as we go on if you start getting more speculative about what could really be going on or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I think I will be once I guess there's just clearly such little information with the polar bear, with the suit guy. It might partially be some autism going on in terms of, like, brain functionality, and I'm just like, how many pieces of information do I have? Not enough to speculate. Therefore, I will not speculate. Waste of energy.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that changes as we get further into the show.
Find therapist?
I have a therapist. Which means that there's a mother nearby.
All right. Is there anything you're looking forward to, like, next episode? Looking forward to seeing more of, less of, whatever?
I think we talked about why we liked this episode more than the previous one, in terms of a lot of reasons, honestly. Less Kate, flashbacks being good. One for me that, you know, I talked about at the end of last episode, what I was looking towards going into this one, and it delivered, is just the island. I think that at this point, for me, the island is the most interesting character. And we get, I don't even know if we brought this up, but you mentioned in the synopsis that we get the monster POV looking at Locke. He's staring straight at it. He gets asked later if he saw it, and he says no. Yeah. That's interesting. I don't have any specific thoughts on it, but yeah, it's interesting. And just the island itself, the weird things going on the island, the monster on the island. You know, where's this transmission coming from on the island? All these sorts of things with the island. I'm loving it. I love when they go out, when they have their little excursions off the beach into the jungle. Their little hikes. It's great. So I'm glad we got more of that. I want more of it still. I think that's what... I don't even necessarily need all... I'm not like, I need these questions answered. I'm just like, yeah, island is fun. Let's do some island.
Totally.
I'm looking forward to... These flashbacks gave me more hope about flashbacks in general. So I think I'm looking forward to, hopefully, more good flashbacks that really serve a character in an interesting way instead of kneecapping them. Like, if cut Kate's flashbacks out, her character is more interesting. And that sucks.
Yeah, because we kind of get a confirmation that it's like, no, I guess she is kind of a good person.
Yeah.
Like, via her flashback.
But these were good. I liked these. So yeah, I'm looking forward to some good flashbacks. Some more island stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Some more of Jack not being amazing.
Yeah, him being more of a complicated character.
Yeah.
Totally. I'm looking forward to more of that. I'm looking forward to more trying to survive on the island type stuff. I've been enjoying that.
Yeah, they gotta deal with I guess they dealt with the food, but...
Yeah, but I like that they're, like, continuing to have to tackle those kind of mundane problems.
Yeah.
Mundane survival problems. And yeah, I like that we're getting a little bit of mystery stuff. I also really like that a lot of the focus is, like, on the characters. I am liking, for the most part, how the cast of characters is like getting a bit more fleshed out, you know, with Jack. We're getting a bit more stuff on like Locke. Oh, we had another hint as to some like Saeed backstory with like he got Claire hands him like an envelope which has like some pictures of a woman in it, and he seems like very grateful to have them. So yeah, I'm looking forward to some more of this.
Yeah, I think at the end of the last episode, I kind of was like, this is the show that everybody had to watch every week, you know? Like, really? And I get it more with this one. This one, I'm more like, okay, I can more see that.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah,
sure.
I am also just looking forward to, you know, getting more into the Lost experience in terms of all the mysteries and all the, like, what kept people coming back so enthusiastically.
Totally. For sure. Well, I think we did it.
Yeah, it was, what's our next episode?
Our next episode is Season 1, Episode 5. It is called White Rabbit.
Ooh, I'm going to have a lot to talk about that. I'm going to go on, oh boy, the tangent to end all tangents. It's going to be amazing.
Oh, shit. Okay, I can't wait to hear that.
We're going to have, you know what we're going to have? We're going to have, this is episode 4, so it's going to be our 3rd episode of our podcast.
No, this is going to be episode 5.
We're going to have an episode 4.5, which is just me talking about totally unrelated to Lost media for like 25 minutes.
I feel like I have some ideas as to what you're going to go off about.
Oh, no way. No, 0% chance.
Oh, okay. I'm excited
chance.
Then. Can't wait to hear this.
All right. You have any, questions, comments, concerns? If you want to swear at us or say happy things to us, you can email us at longlostpodcast@gmail.com. I don't believe you can find Lyra online at the moment, but that might have changed.
Yeah.
All right.
That's true.
You cannot find me online.
I will say, please send in your feedback on Lana's list of guys she would maybe bang.
Send
that to the email address.
If collating, that's not the right word. If analyzing that list, you think you have additional, I would love to lengthen that list and potentially get the guy.
You are asking for dick pics right now, right? You know that's what you just did.
I don't care about who cares? I'll get a dick pic. I'll throw it in the trash. Who cares? I've seen a dick.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
But no, really, I'm serious. Like, there's got to be other people on that list for me too. Because Anyway, famous people who I would know. I don't know anybody, so you got to send a picture to it. I guess I really am asking for dick pics. Let's not do that. Join us next time. I want to thank Lyra for inviting me to this adventure and spending time speaking to me. It's great. It's scheduled time, so she has to do it. It's wonderful.
Oh, yeah. I want to thank Lana for getting lost.
Oh, that's the tagline, huh? It's not the name. It's the Long Lost Podcast. Getting lost. Okay.
Getting lost with the Long Lost
Okay, that's probably
podcast.
where we should stop.
Okay. Bye.